While visiting Les Baux, that medieval stone village up on a little plateau in the south of France, at the end of this segment, we're going to take you walking through these pedestrian lanes in Les Baux, but first we're bringing you to the main historic attraction of the site. You can pay admission and go to see the ruins of the old castle. In the diagram, you can see the village area circled below and the Château on the hillside above. At the far end of the main lane, you'll find the ticket office for the Citadel Museum. And by all means, go into the office, and there you can have a look at the exhibits. A small model of the town is quite fascinating, no charge to take a look. And you'll be tempted to pay the admission to go out onto the plateau and see the rest of the site. And right away, you'll see the ruins of the old castle, the Château Les Baux. This is where the knights of old were defending themselves and ruling over a wide countryside from here. Nowadays, it's mostly in ruins, but you can imagine the grandeur they once enjoyed. A suggestion for your comfort during the castle visit: they do not have any food or drink available for sale inside the grounds. And you might want to bring your own supplies and have a picnic out on the plateau. It's really a delightful spot. Also, they do not allow re-entry. Once you leave the site, that's it. So you can't go out and get some food and come back in again. So bring your own. The Citadel has this steep staircase. You can climb up it, but not for the faint of heart or those afraid of heights. When you climb up, you have a nice view. Surrounded mostly by olive groves out there in the distance and the Alpilles Mountains. These are kind of foothills of the European Alps, a special branch called the Alpilles. A view to the other side of the plateau illustrates how steep these cliffs are all around. As you look down into a valley with some houses people living in today, and then more mountains in the distance protecting this town on all sides. There are several reproductions of the medieval siege machines. These are huge, full-scale models that are in working order. There's a battering ram, which is a reconstruction of an instrument that wouldn't have done much good in attacking this village because it's way up high on the cliff. There's a reproduction of a giant catapult sling or trébuchet. It's the largest one in France, and it had a range of 200 meters and could fire a 200-pound load of boulders, an amazing structure that needed a small army of 60 soldiers to install and run it. This is a naturally perfect fortified site with those steep cliffs all the way around. It's no wonder the people have been living here for so long, especially back in those Middle Ages, the time of fraught and peril. They even built houses inside these stone caves that they carved themselves. The warrior knights who lived here back in the 11th century were so powerful that they commanded the entire region. It's believed they controlled about 80 other towns and villages. There's an ongoing military history battling back and forth with the knights from Barcelona in the Catalan area of what is now Spain off to the west, and various invaders from the eastern side, as well as the Saracens, the Muslim invaders coming up from Africa. So this was a hotbed of contention, fighting for this territory, and that went on for centuries. The domain of the Lords of Baux was finally extinguished in the 15th century. Les Baux was later joined, along with Provence, to the French crown under the governance eventually of Louis XIV, and it became a center for Protestantism, but it tried to revolt and rebel away and become independent once again, and so Cardinal Richelieu led an army to attack in 1632 and ordered that the castle and its walls should be demolished. In 1642, the French struck a deal with the Grimaldi family, who were the rulers of Monaco at that time and are still the rulers of Monaco today. The Grimaldis were installed as the rulers who controlled a huge swath of what is today southern France, all the way from the Italian border and beyond to the west, beyond Les Baux. And so Les Baux has gone through these various cycles of warfare, and in the 20th century, the only real invaders have been tourists. After you've completed your visit to the Château, you will inevitably walk all the way through town again to get out to the main entrance. And while you're strolling, be sure to just have another look. Even if you've walked up in one direction, it's always nice to observe as you walk back in the other direction. You're going to see some new things time and again. You can see why this is the second most popular attraction in the region after the Pope's Palace in Avignon. It's worth the €5 it'll cost you to park in the parking area down below. Otherwise, you have to walk quite a distance along the street to hope to find some parking on that narrow street. So just go ahead and pay your €5 and enjoy the visit. Or easier yet, perhaps you're on an organized tour, as we were, from our home base in Avignon, and then the van just drops us off at the front entrance. No worries about parking. If you missed that view looking down into the valley below when you were coming up the lane towards the Château, be sure to detour over to catch a look at it now. It's just by the main church. There's a chapel, there's toilets right near there that are public and clean, and this breathtaking, beautiful view. And then walking downhill to get out of here is so easy. You'll be able to enjoy the scene once again with this beautiful stone paving, nice even level surface for you to walk on, and very well kept buildings. You're not going to find any graffiti or any trash up here. They really take excellent care of Les Baux. It's really quite amazing that this little village has been preserved so well. You can imagine the turbulent times that it's gone through in its history, being attacked and invaded in the Middle Ages, defending itself throughout the Renaissance, the French Revolution, storming through and burning it and knocking it down. But somehow the buildings today have survived with this great historic atmosphere. It was probably dilapidated and abandoned largely in the early 20th century before the days of mass tourism. But now, thanks to the many visitors, which represent about 100% of the economy, the place is doing very well, and it's waiting for you to discover it. We've got dozens of other great movies about the south of France, so be sure to check our YouTube channel for complete listings. We've got 1,000 free travel movies covering the world. These travel videos take you to Europe. We've got France, Italy, Germany, England, Paris, London, Rome. This is like a guidebook that's come to life. We're also featuring a lot of movies from Asia. We've got great shots from Bangkok's weekend market. We've got shopping and eating tips for you. And we'll take you to Cambodia to the great site of Angkor Wat and the countryside farms. You'll experience life in a typical market town and walk through some rural villages with the locals. We'll show you highlights of Saigon and bring you to the very busy streets of Hanoi's Old Quarter. And tour the world with tourvideos.com.